Fiona's Lounge is a platform for inspiring, thought-provoking conversations with individuals from diverse backgrounds and industries, sharing their stories, experiences, and expertise.
Fiona's Lounge is about in-depth interviews with individuals, exploring their journeys, challenges, and successes. Join Fiona's Lounge showings on all social handles.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fiona's Lounge. This is going to be a program where there's going to be lots of conversation, getting to know people who are doing different things that change the world, people that are doing things that are inspirational, and just to really get an insight into things that are making the world go round today. Thank you so much for being a part of this wonderful journey. You're very welcome.
Fiona's Lounge is a platform for inspiring, thought-provoking conversations with individuals from diverse backgrounds and industries, sharing their stories, experiences, and expertise.
Welcome back, everybody. Today, I've got the privilege and the honor to speak with somebody who has taken the bold step to go out there into the world and write their very own book. The book is a fusion cookery book, and we're really excited to speak with the author and find out about the reasons behind and what the little takeaway nuggets are, no pun intended, from this wonderful book. Hey viewers, so join me in welcoming an absolute juggernaut, an absolute, she's just an incredible woman, a force to reckon with. Not only is she an accomplished lawyer, she's an HR professional, and now she's an author, she's a published author. Please join me and welcome my wonderful guest, Annabel Kuku. Annabel, you're welcome to Fiona's Lounge. How are you doing?
Hello, Fiona. Thanks for having me. I'm very well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm fantastic. It's an absolute honor and a pleasure to have you here. I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. I mean, when I heard that you were writing a book, I was like, really? I was writing a book. I was like, where has she found the time, to write a book? And, as I said in the intro, you're a lawyer, an HR professional. And I thought, okay, a cookbook. So Annabel, share with all of us, why a cookbook?
Thanks for that rapturous welcome. I looked around the room and I was trying to identify who that was. So very humbling. A cookbook, and you would be surprised, and nothing from my profession has contributed to that decision.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
It's all from life's experience. I had that challenge just like everyone else. Rocking the 9 to 5. Being a homemaker and having to feed us intentionally. But in the midst of all of that, every time I had the question, what should we have for dinner today? What should we have for lunch today?
I recognize this question.
Exactly. And I knew I wasn't the only person asking that question up and down the globe.
Sure. 100%.
So with meals in my household, we had various complexities in terms of our health and all of that. So we were never a family who could just pop chips in the oven or rice on the cooker. It had to be nutritious all the time. And that was half the battle with the thought process. So with that question, what should we have for dinner? I just felt I had to answer that question for so many people who were asking it. And that is the inspiration for writing the book. So it was birthed on the idea of, just providing that supportive clap back to the question, what should we have for dinner? So it's not just a book of recipes. It's a treasure trove of ideas, of healthy ideas.
Oh gosh, that's so inspirational. So it's actually, no pun intended again. It's actually organic. So it's actually kind of happened. It's not something that happened by. It's almost happened by default. I think that kind of makes the whole story even that much more interesting. So tell us what sort of stuff can we expect to find in the book? Is it going to be our normal, oh, jollof rice, oh, fried rice, oh, what sort of things can we expect? What sort of inspired the things in the book? You've talked about making sure it's nutritious. So what are the other things that have inspired the kind of recipes that we see, contained in the book?
I find without having to expand on that, my heritage is Nigerian.
Oh, okay,
Yes,
excellent. Mhm.
and with that, with being Nigerian, we ate a certain way: heavy
Oh,
carbs, very little protein, vegetables, and afterthought. That was never going to
mm,
be that was never going to be the diet for my family. So I have intentionally eaten since, been intentional and knowledgeable about my diet from about since 1991. So it's been a long journey coming in the way I ate, but just putting all that together has been the journey. So in the book, you would find, as opposed to where you mentioned jollof rice, no, because you can go on the internet, Google jollof rice and you'd find loads of it. So
fair.
I
Yeah.
have things like asaro fusion, which is a yam pottage which we made in Nigeria. But this is different because it's made up of parsnips and carrots, things that, ingredients that are not indigenous to Africa, but
Okay.
available in the West, but still
Okay.
have the African undertones in terms of the spices. And the base is stew.
Ah, I see. So you're saying that in this asaro there's no yam. Is that what we're saying? Is
There's
that
no
what?
yam. But
Wow.
it's got parsnips, which are rich in vitamin B, folate. It's got carrots. It's got green, some green peppers, and the base of it is again stew. Growing up, we ate so much stew. It was
Of
rice
course.
and stew, dodo, yeah, okay, fried plantain and stew, yam and stew.
Yams.
Even sometimes in my head, I'll say stew and stew.
That's true. I understand that completely. Wow, that's just incredible. I think it's really exciting at a time when our food is kind of is becoming so popular across the globe. It's great when somebody is able to take things they find on the shelves naturally in the West, and they can introduce our Nigerian flavors and take on it and spin it into something like this. And especially you're using something like pasta in that particular recipe, when the whole world is looking more at vegetarianism, veganism. So things like that are absolutely incredible in the current space that the world is heading towards. That's fantastic. So before we go into sharing some of your favorite recipes from the book, so you said that your legal background had no bearing on you writing the book, and I hear that, I understand, but my question is this: you to be a lawyer, to be an HR professional, you must be quite organized. So talk to me about how that helped you in putting this together, because I've never written a book. I can't just stand up today and say, "Oh, I'm going to put a book together." So talk to me about that crossover between being an organized person and putting together something like this, and how long is it taking you to put all these things together? Obviously, since this is something that's happened quite organically, you've been looking at this over the last couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So I mean, talk to us in brief about how that has really looked for you.
The journey, I would say about five. If my daughter's 23 now, I'd say about 5, 6 years ago.
Wow, you have a
So
23-year-old?
I do have a 23-year-old.
Okay.
So,
Never have guessed.
like,
So clearly your food is what we need to be eating. Okay, I have to take that on board. I
thank
need
you.
to go
That is
get
so
this book,
kind.
and I need to make sure that I'm following the recipes. Okay, sorry, I digressed. So yes.
That's right.
So,
So
so
with that, with if I make something, I like the look of it. I'll take a photo of it and bombard my friends and families with pictures of food I had made. And
wow,
and with that, it would be lots of vegetables in it, protein, some carbohydrate, because we do need the energy too.
of course.
So I've done that over, and thanks to the technology of mobile phones, I've been able to do that in quick time, distribute that, and save the pictures on a drive. And I've just always done that,
Okay.
for years.
So,
I've just
so,
always
so
done
even though you didn't really have a plan of having a book, you've been keeping a
an
record of
inventory.
everything,
Yes,
an inventory. That's
an
incredible.
inventory of what I make. So,
And I think,
people can see that.
yeah, I think I'm just going to cross talk to what you just said really quickly, that the ability to keep an inventory across the board is key, in what you're doing in the music industry, because the Nigerian music industry, for example, is huge. And this ability to keep an inventory and catalog is key. So I'm certain, as much as you are trying to say, well, me being a lawyer, me being organized, but I think that it's clear that being organized has really supported, getting us to this place. So that's exciting. Before we go on a break, just can you tell us in brief, what is your top 1 and 2, favorite recipe from the book? Or is that too difficult? Do you want to share with us one recipe?
It's not too difficult, actually.
Okay.
I would say my favorite recipe, but the most difficult recipe,
okay,
is the beetroot, quinoa, and carrot burger.
Wow.
Because I was looking,
Quinoa
yes,
and carrot. So
quinoa
that's all
and carrot.
vegetables, yeah. So there's
All
no
vegetables,
meat.
no
Talk to
meat.
me. Talk to me.
So it was looking for something that had some bite, because when half the desire when you're eating a burger is some bite, some feel.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I wanted to do, because there are only so many, we eat a lot, beetroot is a staple in my household, has been for years.
Wow.
But you can only have so many super salads with beetroot in it, so many beetroot smoothies, so many beetroot that, like I would say beetroot and beetroot, and I wanted something that would, fill that gap when you want a burger, have vegetables in it, but also the protein element, because the vegetables don't really cover that.
Okay.
So I did some research around it. I actually found a beetroot burger, but again, it was lacking protein. So then I started trying, I had so many iterations of it, because it's trying to find that element, whatever it is you're going to add. Because the most, I say the common thing that came to my mind was black-eyed beans, because it's rich in protein. You can mash that, blend that in a mix, and that's fine. But what it would do is throw off the flavor of the other vegetables. And I am keen on enhancing flavors.
Oh.
So I have to find something that is inconspicuous on the palate, but meets the protein gap.
Wow. Tall order.
So, yes. So, with that, I found quinoa, but I could also add the Nigerian / African spice, / African spices of pepper, garlic, which speaks across the globe.
Of course.
So it is, yes. So it has you have that Nigerian flavor to it where it's hot. The global, the global feel where it's got the garlic enhancing flavors. And also that, that meaty texture to it when you bite. A lot of us were not raised vegetarian, so we still have that craving for meat.
Absolutely.
And that burger meets that.
Absolutely. I hear that. I hear that. Okay. So in terms of the feel of it, is it because I always expect if something's just got vegetables, it's just going to fall apart.
Oh, no.
Perfectly fine. Wow. That's absolutely awesome.
It's bound by egg.
It's bound by egg. Okay. That's interesting. Okay. Interesting. Wow. So insightful. So insightful. It's just been an awesome journey so far, and I look forward to continuing our conversation. We're just going to take a really short break, and viewers, we're just going to be right back at you.
Fiona's Lounge is about in-depth interviews with individuals, exploring their journeys, challenges, and successes. Join Fiona's Lounge showings on all social handles.
Fiona's Lounge is a platform for inspiring, thought-provoking conversations with individuals from diverse backgrounds and industries, sharing their stories, experiences, and expertise.
Hey viewers, welcome back. Today with me, I've got the wonderful Annabel Kuku, accomplished lawyer, HR professional. But today we're talking about her role and her capacity as a book writer. You know, she's put together this amazing cookbook, and she's just sharing all the little tidbits, again, no pun intended, and all the wonderful things about putting this book together through her what so far seems to have been an incredible journey. Thank you so much for being with us, Annabel. I think before we went into the break, we were talking about the complexity of putting together this burger that has all this nutrition with all the beetroot, etc. Because one of the questions I was going to ask you was, what was the most challenging recipe to develop? So, I mean, I think you've kind of spoken to that already. So you made reference to something earlier, and I would like to visit that because for any of us that have, traveled to places like Morocco, Egypt, etc., even the Emirates, if we go to the certain markets, they have, spices. Some of them are actually quite peculiar to the areas. We as Nigerians have specific things that we use to cook as a matter of course. They're not necessarily only Nigerian spices, but they are things that we use in our cooking. So for an example of that might be something like curry, for example. So with your cooking, how have you sought to include these Nigerian references and spices within, are there any specific things that you've added that probably other people wouldn't have thought about adding to any of the things that you've made?
For me, it was all about keeping it easy, keeping it accessible, keeping it relatable, and across the board. So whether you're Nigerian or not, you can access these things easily.
Okay.
Yes, and include them if you wouldn't have done so ordinarily.
Okay.
So growing up, we cooked with a lot of garlic, we cooked with a lot of onion, we cooked with a lot of ginger because it made the pepper kick.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So
pepper's got a kick. Pepper's got a kick. Absolutely.
It's got a kick.
Yes.
So most of the recipes have a lot of that.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so in terms of your recipes that are the Nigerian fusion, I know that it's the book is across the board, which is exciting and it's fantastic. And I know some viewers in particular, as a Nigerian myself, I know that one of the things that you spoke about was really important, the fact that we eat a lot of carb-heavy food. Protein is not necessarily the first thing we're thinking about when we're cooking. And for me, I think as time goes on, we're becoming more conscious of that. So can you just mention a few of the recipes in your book that are Nigerian influenced or Nigerian centered? So for example, you talked about the parsnip asaro, which is fantastic. For anybody that doesn't know what asaro is, that's yam pottage. So I understand the Nigerian fusion in there. So can you mention a few more of your recipes that are Nigerian infused and Nigerian fusion?
Oh, that's off the top of my head. There's one called lentil moi moi.
Oh, okay. Lentil
So
moi moi.
for our non-Nigerian listeners, moi moi is a steamed bean cake. So it's made of black eye beans, that's blended with some spices and all of that, and steamed. And it has a texture of a pudding.
Okay.
So in our culture, it's you can have it for breakfast, you can have it for lunch, you can have it for dinner, you can have it on its own, you can have it with something else. And we grew up eating that a lot in my house. But here in the West, okay, now you can find broken beans, but it hasn't always been the way. I found it very laborious to have to wash beans, skin it, blend it, and so on. Yes? But also with my eye on the protein, lentils kind of fill that gap.
Let's see. Okay.
So it's, the lentil moi moi, similar principle to the black eye bean moi moi like we've grown up with.
Mm-hmm.
But this is so much easier. It's lighter, it's lighter on the palate, lighter on the stomach. And a little fun fact for you, it has more protein than black eye beans.
Oh wow! I mean, so this is sold to me already because I know I don't eat enough protein, and if it's cooked the same way, this makes it a win. So do you add the same kind of seasoning that you use if you were making moi moi to it?
Yes, you add the
Right.
same kind of seasoning, but it's even a shorter time to cook because it's a lighter consistency.
Right. Yeah, because that's quite dense.
Yeah, yeah, black beans are quite dense, but
Oh,
lentils are, lighter. So it's one of those, like, if you thought about it in the morning, you just dump some lentils in a bowl of water. They don't even need to soak that long, but it just takes away from your evening, just takes away that. You just come back, drain that, blend. You can
and
do
you're
it,
good
and
to
you can
go.
do it in a raft of ways. Tip it all
Wow.
into ramekins, put in a pot or put in a casserole dish, throw in the oven. For extra protein, you can boil some eggs, throw that in. That's what we did growing up with moi moi, right?
Absolutely. Wow.
Boil some eggs,
That's
throw that
incredible.
in, throw in some chicken, whatever it is that you like. Serve it
Wow.
with some vegetables or have it with gari like we always used to. Or,
I don't know about that. I've heard this before, but that's I don't know. But okay, that sounds amazing. So I mean, the thing is, we go out there, we get our copy, we're going to find a lot of these little nuggets in there. So that's fantastic. So I mean, so obviously we talked about the fact that this is not something that you just woke up one day and said, oh, you know what, I'm writing a book. So in all this experience, there's some stuff that you've learned and you've thought, this is a good tip. Can you share with us one of your favorite kitchen hacks or tips, something that people will hear and say, this is what I'm going to do the next time?
I would say a lot of, as you know, a lot of us are, resource rich, time poor. So what you need in order to save time, I would say prep in advance. Just some thought process about what you do and how you do it. So
Mhm.
I cook, I do batch cooking and freeze. I freeze in jars. So, there's no chance of flavors blending into anything or the food actually absorbing some of the material and none of that. So for instance, I will cook a vat of stew. Yes. And save that in as many jars as possible. So if I save maybe 6 or 7 jars, they will keep for about 3 months. Or they can keep that longer. I could even save more than that. I would use one jar. There's college jollof in the book, which
Yes,
is
of course.
it's not jollof rice, but it's similar principle as jollof rice, but made from cauliflower this time. So you have the vegetables only. Yes. So this time you just alter the spices, have curry jollof. The next time you're doing it, you have a butter bean curry, which is the first thing on that on the back of the page. You have a butter bean curry, which you could have with rice, you could have it with yam, you could have it with potatoes, you could have it with anything. The
Wow.
next time you do that, you bring out another jar. You just again alter the seasonings, and you have it as bolognese, and
Wow.
just keep it moving is what I say.
I really love this. So I think you might not realize this, but what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing is that this book of yours is actually a fantastic. I mean, maybe you can speak to that. Do you see how this book is bridging a cultural gap? Do you see that that's actually happening? Or because I realize that this is just something that's happened very organically. It's not something, even though you've thought about it long and hard, I'm not sure whether you've realized that this is actually a gap that's being bridged across across different cultures
Oh,
through food.
I hear you all day long on that.
Hmm.
I love, unashamedly, I love food. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I love food. And food is something, as humans, we tend to love and socialize around food.
True. No matter what's going on, there's food. I know in the African context, in the Nigerian context, no matter what it is, something sad, there's food. Something happy, there's food. There's something to
Exactly.
celebrate. There's always food. 100%. Yeah, I agree.
Yes, it's something, that speaks across cultures, like you said, something happy, something sad, whatever that is, food. And that is, I think, food, it helps us concentrate more on what unites us as opposed to what differentiates us.
Right. Sure.
You invite people to your home, for instance. The last time I hosted a group of friends, all of them Caucasian, and there was nothing Caucasian on the recipe, but a
Wow.
few things they could relate to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So this, I served grilled chicken like they would usually have it. but with some, with pepper, with with peppery sauce, which has its origins in Mozambique. But again, grilled the way Nigerians would do it, some pepper on the side, and they would go, oh, this is how we would eat it, but we wouldn't have it XYZ and the other. This is how we would have it. So we have some commonality there.
Excellent. So we agree that this is definitely going to be bridging a gap. That's fantastic. And in terms of when a person buys the book, what's the one thing that you hope they will take away when they've got this book and they're like, okay, yeah, this book has helped me A, B, C, D. What is the one thing?
One thing, it is simple. And I want them to see it more as a treasure trove of ideas as opposed to a book of recipes. I want people
easy. We do easy. It's easy.
Yes, I want people to walk in their kitchen, they're back from work or whatever the daily grind is, open a page and they're able to make something from it. It is simple, it is relatable, and more than anything, it is easily achievable.
We do
easy recipes. Have your eye on the nutrition. If there's one thing I want people to take away from this, I'm not a nutritionist by any stretch. It's just a lot of life's experience and research. But always have your eye on the nutrition and strive for something easy. You're more likely to do it if you think it's easy.
Excellent. Thank you. So, I mean, maybe there's going to be another book in the pipeline. I mean, we'll see how this goes. So tell us, Annabel, where can we get this book? Where, if we wanted to order a copy today, we want to get our protein up, we want to get our food intake improved. Where can we get a copy of this amazing book?
With this book, it's available on Amazon. It will be available. It's not yet on Barnes & Noble, but will be, to cater for the American market. Okay. Amazon, Waterstones, and of course, follow me on Instagram. We do hashtag We Do Easy.
Okay, hashtag We Do Easy. So it's going to be available on Amazon here soon. It's going to be Barnes & Noble, Waterstones. That's absolutely amazing. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here on the show. We're looking forward to seeing the books fly off the shelf. It will be an amazing opportunity to talk to you perhaps some months down the line. Next year, see how everything has been going, and be talking about possibly your next book.
Thanks so much for having me on the show. It's been an honor and of course a pleasure to share the detail of the book with you and some ideas.
It's been a pleasure, Annabel. Thank you so much for taking. I know you're so busy. You've got launches, you're signing, you're doing so many different things. So I really appreciate you taking out the time to be with us this afternoon. And I've got my copy. I need you to sign it now. So I just need to find a way to get you to sign it. So I really appreciate your time, Ms. Kuku. Thank you so much, viewers. It's been an amazing session speaking to Annabel Kuku, author of We Do Easy. Please follow her, hashtag We Do Easy. Until we meet again and meet another inspirational person. It's been Fiona at Fiona's Lounge, and look forward to seeing you next time.
Fiona's Lounge is a platform for inspiring, thought-provoking conversations with individuals from diverse backgrounds and industries, sharing their stories, experiences, and expertise.
Fiona's Lounge is about in-depth interviews with individuals, exploring their journeys, challenges, and successes. Join Fiona's Lounge